I'm Kirk Johnson, here with the head coach at Montgomery Catholic, and you're watching Average Joe Sports Talk.
Montgomery Catholic's campus with new head coach, Coach Johnson, who's been here 3 weeks. You've been here a lot longer than 3 weeks. It's 3 weeks into the season as the new head coach. Coach, before we start talking about, how you got here and what led you here and how you became the head coach of this place, let's take it back to the early days, man. Tell me where you grew up and what life was like for you as a youngster.
Well, I was born in Atlanta. Then my mom and dad divorced when I was very young. So moved to Shelby County where my folks are from, which is Lower Birmingham. And so I grew up in a single parent household, very similar to a lot of college, poor income African Americans. I relied heavy on my mom because my dad wasn't there, and played ball at Shelby County High School, and then finished my career up at Cornerstone Christian School. Was going to Sanford out of college, and some things kind of, went sideways and whatnot. And by the grace of God, Mike Turk reached out to me. I wasn't going to play anymore, kind of was going to give it up. And Mike Turk from Huntington College reached out to me and wanted me to come down. And I didn't know anything about it. D3, D2, didn't know anything. And they welcomed me with open arms. So I played there, finished my career up there. Right after I got done playing college ball there, I took a job at Lanier. I did a long-term sub, and I worked for Coach Willer at Lanier, and then left there and went to Sylacauga under one of, in my personal opinion, one of the best coaches in high school football at the time, Matt Griffith. Was there at Sylacauga. Went from Sylacauga, did my grad school at Auburn, and when I was at Auburn doing grad school, one of the guys I played with, wife was working here. And they had a history spot. I'm a history teacher by trade. That's what my certification started in. And she told me to come take the job. And I told her I didn't really want to coach or anything because I was trying to get into college realms as far as coaching. But I got here, kind of planning on being here for a year. And then in that same year, the current athletic director took the job. His name's Daniel Veers, one of the best hires here at Montgomery Catholic. He's the reason why our sports are successful right now. And then at that same time, Aubrey Blackwell, the ex-head coach, takes the job. And so we kind of collectively, built the program and kind of got it jump-started.
Now, was there a point during your early years when you were playing, and you was a very successful linebacker in college?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Was there a point where you looked at the game and thought, hey, I can teach this. This is something I'm going to do?
It's funny you say that. I've known I was going to coach or work with the youth since I was 17. So sitting in chapel when I was in high school, when I was 17 years old, God told me that's what I was going to do. You're going to work with the youth. Now, I envisioned that I'd be, Kirby Smart or Dabo Swinney making all the money in the world and doing things like that. I never thought I'd be a history teacher, to start it off. But, you kind of try your best to follow his plan, and his plan has, led me here to Montgomery Catholic, and it's been a blessing. So yes, to answer your question, I always knew I was going to do this. I love working with kids, and the biggest impactful guys in my life were coaches, and I kind of tested that early. I mean, I was a single mom who was running here, doing this and doing that and doing that. It was always my coach that got me to a game or made sure I was doing my grades. Or, I'm one of 6, so she had a lot going on. So those guys were the ones who really kept me accountable outside of the house, if that makes any sense.
No doubt. You just mentioned some guys that really influenced you. Who are the ones that you really
man, it's
to this day you look back and say,
man, so for me, I'm not even gonna name one because there's so many, from city league ball all the way up to college ball, and I still have a relationship with all phases. From a city league coach I still talk to regularly, my high school coach I still talk regularly, my college coaches. Most of the decisions I make as far as career moves, I'm calling one of my college coaches right off the jump, just to know what he thinks, his opinions, and different things like that. And I recently had one of the toughest decisions I've ever made in my life, because I finally got the job I wanted as far as college job, and he was right by my side the whole way to kind of walk me through that. So it's across the board, honestly. All those dudes, just different phases of your life, because when you're young, they're there, and then you grow up and you go play for your high school coach, or then you go on to college, and so I don't want to name one and leave anybody off.
There's plenty. Now, being a star player sometimes don't always equal out to being a really good coach. What are some of the things that you've noticed being a good player, and you look now that you're coaching guys, and you're like, what are some of the key things that you've seen from both sides of the fence, so to speak, that helps you relate what you need to get done with these guys?
Man, that's a great question. I think, honestly, man, just putting yourself in their shoes at all times. You remember what it was like to run gassers, or be in fundy groups, or be on 17 special teams, or whatever the case. So I think the biggest thing is understanding who they are, each individual kid, and putting yourself in their shoes. There's a bunch of times, we as coaches, we can say what we want, but we live vicariously through these kids. Oh, yeah. I remember making a tackle in a game and getting up excited and jumping around. Well, that's the same feeling I get when Pat Ryan fits up A-gap, or when Bales covers the guy he's supposed to. So I think, honestly, just relating and understanding how they work and how they tick and different things, which makes you a better coach. You hear that term all the time, a player's coach. I think it's hard-pressed that you can't be in this business and not be a player's coach. I don't know how you would ever be successful, because, it really has little to nothing to do with coaches. It's more about the players, because they're the ones making the plays. I hadn't made a play since 2012, so I tell them all the time, people ask me, are y'all ready? Well, I'm not playing, so you better ask them, are they ready? We've given them the game plan, we've installed the game plan, and now it's on them to go out and make sure, they live up to that game plan.
I'm glad you mentioned that. My next question was, how did you know you've been an assistant coach? And I read in one of your articles where you said at one point you were offered a head coaching job and you turned it down.
I never foresaw this. That's going back to the God's plan. I love Aubrey, and Aubrey was the guy who was here, and you'll hear me mention him just because that's my brother, and honestly became a mentor. And I'm gonna call him a brother more than a mentor, just because we walked through some lower times together. But I never envisioned being a head coach, and never. I did apply and was receiving some interest and some offers, but I enjoyed being Coach J, the strength DC. The energy guy, I'm more of a background dancer, I guess. I used to always say he was Britney Spears, I'd be Kevin Federline, if we want to look at it that way, minus the relationship part. But so I never envisioned it, man, and God just works in mysterious ways, man. It's something about this community and these people here that he just won't let me leave. So I mentioned, that tough decision. I took a job at South Alabama right before all this happened, and then me and Coach Blackwell were supposed to announce we were leaving, and I just couldn't do it, man. It was tough. So
something just kept you here.
Kids and the administration. I love what our president Jessica stands. I love his vision. I love what our principal Eileen Aaron, how she follows the vision and keeps the coaches in line and brings the entire faculty together. In some places, man, there's faculty and then there's the coaches. And it's not a good situation. Here, we all kind of mesh together and we get the job done. Because honestly, man, there's some days I might be helping with the band. There's some days I might be, at our Holy Spirit subbing or whatever. Working with working with our elementary school. So it's just a good place. And so God hadn't opened up another door that I feel was best for me and my wife. So,
man, let's. I want to rewind the clock last year to Tuscaloosa.
Oh, all right.
And that's my background. I did a show with Coach Benfield.
Yes, sir.
And
one of the best coaches in the state of Alabama.
Yes, very unique situation of
Yes, sir.
They the game was unbelievable. Like the expectations and everything you guys had coming into that game. What was y'all's mindset coming into that game? It was the first time you had made a football state championship game, correct?
Well, and for a coach, yes.
Yes.
As a coach, yes. Yes. So to be completely honest with you, man, we knew what we were getting ourselves into. You're talking about top 10 all-time state coach, all-time Alabama state coach. He is phenomenal and runs a great program. And I think the phrase we always use around here, he just does it right. It starts at a young age. They do the same things. They believe in it. They grow up in it, and the biggest thing is they believe like that. So one of the turning points for me, I'm sorry to jump, but one of the turning points for me to kind of tell you how well of a program he has. Even when we were up, they still did the same thing on offense. The sideline still was the same as they were in the way the sideline looked down 17 is the way it looked when it was up, 3 or 4, how many points it was. So he just does the right things. And when you're not Fife, when you're Montgomery Catholic or any other 3A school who's trying to knock Fife off the pinnacle, you want to do the things the way they're doing it. You want to do it the right way. When people come around, you want them to see cohesiveness. You want them to see work ethic. You want them to see determination. And you see all that in the Fife football program. So we knew we were getting ourselves into. They got great football players, and they got tough football players. We're living in a world where the American male is fading out, where the tough, rugged, old school guys kind of leaving. And not at Fife.
Yeah.
Not at Fife. And so it's our jobs to put our kids in uncomfortable situations, whether it be weight room, practice, so on and so forth. And because Fife was an uncomfortable situation, they came out and hit us in the mouth. And, I think we did a pretty decent job retaliating, but at the end of the day, they came out on top.
Yeah, that was a unique game. But the lessons learned in that game are very teachable.
Of course.
Talk about some of the things you took away from that game, heading into the offseason last year.
Well, I think the biggest thing we took away was that we just weren't ready. I've already kind of made the point of in the first quarter, they look the same as they did in the fourth quarter. They have an identity. They have a culture. And I think the biggest thing for us is if God willing and we make it back there, is the same. We will look the same way. The first quarter, we will look the same way we look in the fourth, first to the fourth. They were even killed the entire time. I just remember looking over there early third. We make a big play. They're non-responsive. They're on to the next play. And they're just tough kids. So I think taking away that we just gotta finish, and you gotta learn that don't let that moment be too big for you. Don't let it. They've been there 6 times in a row, so it wasn't too big. It was just it was a regular season game for them. I make a joke all the time around here. A lot of teams in the state of Alabama they already know they're not what they're doing on Thanksgiving. They already know they're gonna be eating with the football team. We want to be one of those teams. Every Thanksgiving, we want to eat with the football team, and so Fife is one of those teams. Every Thanksgiving, you think their parents schedule trips or no, they already know. Hey, well, Thursday they'll be eating with the team, so Susie, make sure you're around or whatever. So we want to be like that, and so I think that's the biggest thing is just understanding that our culture and our legacy and our what we built here is right there, but it's not there yet. So
no doubt. Now, take us back from that game to when you became head coach, and how that transpired, and let's go from there. And then I got some questions about that.
Okay, so game ends. Of course, immediately the phones are blowing up for Coach Blackwell and I. For his future and for my future. I kind of took a route. I'd say a week or so, week and a half or so after the state championship game. I was going to go with Kane Womack, South Alabama, one of my good friends, one of the best college coaches in the nation, and Blackwell with Ben Russell, the Ben Russell gig, and Blackwell is one of the best coaches in the state, and I felt like he was ready to make that jump where he can prove that he's a 7A coach, 6A coach, 5A coach, whatever the case. And so things got real stressful. My wife's in PT school at UAB, and so the whole time it was going to be a tough thing to navigate. Me living in South, her living in Montgomery, while commuting to UAB, so it was just going to be tough. And so the administration asked that we talk to the kids before we leave and do it the correct way. We didn't want to send a text and kind of tell them, hey, this is it. And anyway, we get up in front of the kids. Coach Blackwell led. There was a bunch of sad faces, and then I tried to follow it up, and I just couldn't. Said what I said, and then immediately following, the AD and the principal called me in and kind of said, hey, you're the direction we want to go in, and we don't want you to leave, and different things like that. And I went home, I prayed, I talked to my wife, and she's the most, if I'm listening to anybody, it's her, and she kind of said we should hear him out and see what's transpired. Her faith was keeping us here, and so I heard him out. So of course I take the job, and and it's probably been the most stressful 6 months of my life, honestly. I've been miserable at times. I've been happy at times, but it's all because I want to be perfect. I put a lot of pressure on myself. Thank God I have, the administration I do and the administration I do and the coaching staff I do, because honestly, I don't know what I do. The COVID stuff, and it's so much stuff is just going on. And like I told you, I had no, if you talk to Coach Blackwell, he'll tell you he had no desire. Like there was times when he asked me to come sit in some meeting, or I'm not gonna be doing that, so I'm not doing it. So so at the end of the day, the one thing that draws you back is the kids. I'm willing to do that extra stuff, whatever, because I want to see TJ Dudley succeed. I want to see Patrick Ryan or Will Driver or Will Belson or whoever. I want to see those kids succeed. And so it's now that we're in football season, it's actually a lot better because it's more routine. I'm a routine guy. I'm 4:30 up, 5 o'clock lift. I'm routine. So it's starting to feel more like I'm used to it, because I was used to my old job, which is probably a bad thing. I guess I'm learning.
Well, when I talk to most head coaches, they all have the exact same message. And that message is, I had no idea what this entails, and the last thing on the list is coaching. They have to do so many other things away from the field that it's a blessing when they do get to go coach.
I gave Blackwell crap. I gave Coach Griff crap. Man, why are you doing that? Like, hey man, stop! Don't do that. Yeah. I'm that guy now. Yeah. And it's just because you want everything. You pull up. We want the weight room to look nice. We want that. Just different things you don't think about or see all the time. And dragonfly. That's something I never thought about. But it's
be done.
Scheduling games. Who's taking the JV on the bus? It's things like that. And
who's selling ads?
Oh yeah. So. And I think the biggest thing you got to do is you got to get you a staff that supports you, that see your vision, and honestly, they're going to help. I got great coaches. We don't have a lot of them, but we got good ones. Guys who are former college players who can relate to the kids in that way, and then guys who know the game of football and are willing to invest in these young men. Because ultimately, it ain't about winning no games. It's about turning these young men into turning these boys into young men and into great sons, into great fathers, and like I mentioned earlier. American male is it's tough right now. So we want to put out that product. We want to put out when you hire a kid that played for Montgomery Catholic, I want you to say, hey, man, that boy worked hard. He's respectable. He's here all the time. He's here on time and all the time, and he works his butt off.
Yeah, there won't be no questions. If they see that on a resume, we're hiring this guy.
I pray. So
now this thing here was by no means broken when you took it over. But what was your message?
So
when you first met the guys?
I don't think my message changed. I don't think I gave one. I think they know who I am, and that's actually a benefit of taking a job where you're already at. The model and the foundation is laid. It's been laid for the last 7 years. I think me and Coach Blackwell and Daniel Veras and along with some other coaches throughout the time have done a good job establishing that foundation. I think now, like I told them in the message, you're still pulling up to the same address. It's still your home. It's going to look a little different. I might change the way the carpet. I might put hardwood floors down. I might go from marble to granite or whatever. And so and I think anybody that tell you that's known me, defense is kind of my background. I bring intensity and drive, and I'm going to demand that you be great at all times, and I want you to do the same for me, and so I think that I've carried that kind of mindset, the dark side, our defense, into the offense, just demanding that all times you be great, because somebody's looking, and when I say be great, I'm not talking about just on the field. We're talking about academics, we're talking about spiritually, we live in a world where men feel like they can't talk to people. Yes, you can. And I want you to be great at it. I want you to tell your mom and your dad what's going on, or your coach, or whoever you confide in, because you better have somebody you confide in.
That's right.
So I want you to be great in all phases.
How is that message? I mean, like you said, you use calm, steady voice since you've been here. Didn't really change much.
Not much.
How have the guys received it at this point, in your opinion?
That'd be a question you got to ask them. I think that's what they expected. I think I think they hate it. For 355 days, but those 10 days when they're rewarded on that field, I think they love it because they know that it was all worth it. You know, playing football is dumb.
Yeah.
It's dumb, especially in the South. It's dumb. I love it. It's dumb. You know, you put in 355 days of work for 10 days. You're guaranteed 10 days.
Yeah.
You're guaranteed 10 days. That's crazy. I mean, that's crazy. If I told you work for 10, you only gonna get 10 paychecks if you work 355 days. You quit. No, you wouldn't do it. You know, so so you got to make it fun. You got to make it entertaining. We joke with kids. We do team talks where we just sit down and, hey, look, tell me about what's going on. You got a girlfriend? How is she? Treating her right? You know, they ask us questions because, of course, they think we're zombies and we only, you know, it's the craziest thing ever. I taught at our elementary school forever, and I saw a little girl at Walmart and she stared at me for 5 minutes. It's like, I come to Walmart. I promise you, I got to get clothes and deodorant and soap.
You just,
you know, they just think we just go home and stare at the mirror. You know, so
that's awesome.
So I think they received I guess to answer the question, I think they received my coaching style and my layout and my vision because they already knew what it was. I'd ask that you interview the kids and ask them. They'd probably tell you the same thing. You know, while they're pulling up to the same address, it's just I've redecorated the house a little bit.
What does it take to be a player here in this program? Something that you absolutely have to have, or you're not going to be part of this team.
Okay, just one thing?
No, just in general.
Okay, I think the biggest thing is you got to put yourself aside. It ain't about you. It ain't about you. It ain't about Coach Jay. It ain't about, you know, we got a 4-star linebacker. We have a 3-star, 2 3-star DBs. We got a 3-star running back. We got a quarterback that's 3-star. All that, it ain't about neither one of them. Because the kid that's standing on the sideline whooping and cheering is just important as all those dudes. So you got to set yourself aside. As long as that shirt says Montgomery Catholic, I don't care who's doing what. I don't care who catches a touchdown. I don't care who make a tackle. So if you can't set yourself aside, you cannot play here. Absolutely. You can't play here.
All right, here's a question I like to ask coaches, and some of them kind of dance around it, but I think you're pretty straight shooter. What does it take to be a parent of a kid here? Because I know a lot of times
flexibility. Oh man, it's flexibility. I'm not gonna. It's flexibility. We're not perfect, and I've told parents before. I don't come to your job and teach you how to sell insurance. You laugh, but
That's true.
I don't tell you how to, you know,
that's true.
Sell a car or whatever you do for your. So know that I'm here for your child and I got the best interest for your child. And I think our parents are really good because they understand we love your kid before we do anything. You know, I'm gonna show your kid I love them, and then I'm gonna teach them, and then I'm gonna coach the fire out of them. You know, and you got to do it in that order. If I coach the fire out of them before I ever love them, then you get the parent. Coming in, hey, you said, nah, you know. So I think we do a good job in our community. So involved, they know. You know, we have mom breakfasts every Thursday where they cook for our kid. We have dad's breakfast where we meet the dads at Chappie's and they ask us game plans. You know, we have team nights. You know, we do a lot of different things where they see, oh man, that kid, he knows. You know, so when I'm, you know, on whoever it is, they're like, okay, it's out of love. You know, it's not out of hate or belittling or whatever, you know, whatever that a normal parent might say.
Right, that makes sense. Let me ask you a question, personal question. When you take off the coach's hat and go enjoy yourself, what is your hobby or getaway from coaching?
Nowadays it's spend time with my wife. Honestly, man, I don't know why she's still with me. I don't know what she sees, what she got going on. I've been absolute terrible, just because like I told you, man, I expect so much out of myself that I'm, you know, I'll stay up here, you know, when I shouldn't be, and it helps that she's in PT school, so you know, we get to spend Saturday together, so you know, it's spending time with her. But I have a side by side, you know, Polaris Razor. I'm a country boy at heart, so we'll ride the 4-wheelers, we'll go out, you know, we'll camp or whatever the case, and she would love to go to the beach, but like I told you, I'm a terrible husband right now, and we hadn't been. So I think it's just honestly spending time with her. Usually I'm with the kids, so I open the gym, we'll play basketball, or you know, they feel like that we just don't have any athletic ability because we're coaches. So I have to show them every now and then that that's not the case.
That's not the case.
That's not the case.
How many hours would you say you put in this place during the season? A week?
4 to 8, so you tell me 4:30 to 8. So
4:30 a.m. to 8 p.m.
every day. Every day.
Minus Saturday.
So I'm here at 4:30. Latest I'll get here is 4:45. I do my 30-minute devotional. I have a parent workout that I lead at 5:30. So from my devotional. Then I walk right into a parent workout. That's my president's in that workout. My principal's in that workout. A bunch of teachers, a bunch of parents of my kids are in that workout. I think we got about 30 people, and so we do that workout. That ends about 6:15, 6:30. The boys roll in at 7 for their workout. So I'll grab my oatmeal or whatever I'm eating that day. The boys walk in at 7 to 8:43. We're in here grinding, and then from there it's the regular old school day. It's your classes, it's your cutting the grass, it's your making sure Billy's ready to go. It's all that stuff, and then of course practice in the afternoon, and you can't leave until that's right.
Man, how you stay charged up for all that?
Man, it's the kids, man.
Yeah.
It's the kids. If you're not in this for the kids, you're in it for the wrong reason.
No doubt.
If you're not in it for the kids, you're in it for the wrong reason. And I'm hard pressed to say that every coach would say that, and if they don't, they need to probably get out of it.
You're right.
So
I interviewed Rush one time. I know Rush got
hey man,
he's got a bad rap by some people, but one thing he did say in that interview, he said at the time I interviewed him, was last year, he had gotten 249 kids scholarships.
And that's the. So I'm not at 249, but there's a number I keep. That's one of the numbers I keep up with all the time. And how many have we led to Christ?
That's right.
That's important.
That's the biggest thing.
How many have you led to Christ?
That's
When
right.
they, like I told you earlier, when they leave here, how are they? If your kids don't come back and see you, and they put me in this group text. They call it the day ones, and they're always talking about it, and I love it. Now I don't comment on everything they talk about, but just to know that they care enough to come back to a game. Who we playing this week, Coach Jay?
That's right.
That's the type of stuff you want to hear. If you're not in it for the kids, then like I said, you're doing it
Wrong business.
Wrong business. Go do something else.
No doubt.
You make a lot of money selling cars. Or
That makes sense, Coach. Now, final question, man, I like to ask you, and I love to kind of close on this with coaches. What do you want these guys to take away into their day-to-day lives once they part from your program? Number one, it's a few things.
Well, I think there's a lot of things, but just you asking that question, the kind of thing I take to mind is that it's a brotherhood. So I grew up, I'm one of 6, like I mentioned. I have 3 brothers. We fought all the time. But you ain't gonna fight them. And I think that's the message with our kids. Yeah, you bicker. Yeah, it's tough because you're around each other all the time. But at the end of the day, you're a brotherhood. And nobody from the outside messes with your brother. And so I think, that's just the first thing that comes to mind. And not saying you go out here and fighting people. That's not the message. But protect your brothers, protect your family, and the family is Catholic. Protect them. When you're out in public, carry us the right way, represent us the right way, speak about us the right way, and that message is across the board. If you have parents that are out here, I couldn't stand the way Coach J did. Well, they might not have mean anything by that, but somebody heard it and took it and ran with it. So I think across the board in our Catholic family, I think that's the message. That you protect the family.
No doubt, man. It's a very special place, and the things y'all are doing are phenomenal, man. It's been known statewide. I mean, you guys are on the map. There's no doubt about it, and I appreciate you.
Man, we're just a school in Montgomery trying our best to do it the right way.
I love it, Coach. Love what y'all are doing, man. And glad you had me in, and thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Go Knights.